Man, that song gets me hyped every time I hear it. I'm just ready to podcast. So, with that said, this episode of the Off-Road Podcast is sponsored by Warren, Kobe Valve, and 4Patriots.
Off-Road Podcast, episode 432, the SEMA recap.
Tonight, Aaron wrecks a Mercedes, Coy gets a bullseye, and Ben breaks into, I don't know how to say it, Griot's garage?
Griot's garage. You should know
Griot's garage.
Come on, Ben, get your stuff together. Welcome to the Off-Road Podcast, a podcast about everything off-road. We cover the news, review products, and interview people in the off-road industry. Your hosts tonight are Aaron, Coy, and my name is Ben, and welcome to the show.
Hey, Ben, your audio got super quiet there for a little bit on my end.
Did it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're quiet again. I don't know if your mic moved back away from your lips.
Oh, it's literally the same place it's been all night. Man.
Yeah. Well, while you figure that out, Coy, tell us what you were up to this week since you weren't as cool as us.
Well, I just hung out in torrential downpours all week. That was nice. I've really enjoyed, especially today. It was like, I don't know, 50-mile-an-hour winds. At one point, my hard hat flew off my head, and I was on like one side of the road. It went about 40 feet down the road, across both lanes, and into the full ditch on the other side before it touched the ground. Like, that was just the first. Yeah, it was horrible. But I did get a little break in the weather on Sunday, and I went and did some shooting. I got that new gun and a new scope, and finally put it all together and went out and put 40 rounds through it. Got it to where it was grouping decently at 100 yards, and then we just rang it off steel for a while. And I shot kind of all my guns and had a good time with my brothers and a couple friends. It was
Very
it was
nice.
a good Sunday.
That's good.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me too.
Yeah, thanks for the
I
invite.
would have, but it wasn't my event. It was my brother's. So
Oh, I see.
We're not good
I
enough?
invite you to my event and you bring your brother, but your brother has an event and I can't get invited. I got it.
yeah, pretty much. you wouldn't have felt comfortable.
That's fine.
My,
That's fine. I was busy. I was probably busy anyways.
Some of the people that I shoot guns with in my family, I mean, safety third,
Oh,
know what
wow.
I'm saying? I did find out that 45 long Colt is just anemic. I thought that 45 long was like kind of
It's-
cool. It's horrible.
I think you could hold 45 long Colt in your fingers and touch it off with a hammer and not have any issues.
I think I could walk off a 45 long Colt round. I don't think it'd penetrate. I'm a skinny guy, but as fat as I am, and is like, there is some muscle under that fat. I think I could walk it off. Depending on where it got me. There was
Gotcha.
I got that Taurus Judge, and I had some 325 grain long Colts. I had some lighter ones as well, but I popped those in, and my brother had a like an old dish satellite that a tree had fell on and just folded the dish right in half.
Yeah.
And from probably 25 feet away, I shot that thinking I was going to make a big hole in it. It was at maybe a 5-degree angle away from me. It redirected that bullet straight into the air. It is a 22 will penetrate it. Bullet just redirected. Did not penetrate. Made a big groove.
That sounds-
and went straight up.
That sounds really safe.
I'm sure it did. It probably went 6 or 7 feet in the air after the redirect.
6 or 7 feet.
Wow. Surprised I couldn't run up and catch it. I was so saddened. It looks like such a huge round. You have it at Taurus Judge. You're like, man, I'm going to shoot a tree in half. And as it turns out, if you tried to kill yourself with it, I think you would fail at that as well.
Yeah. Well, how do you feel about that 410 shot shell stuff too?
Well, I mean, I don't plan on doing a lot with it, but it's fun to shoot.
Okay.
I fully plan on setting an axe head up and putting a target with 2 balloons on it and then showing my kids that I could split a bullet in half and just blast a shotgun shell. I'll put a couple 45s in it and shoot so that it seems real. Like I got it on the third try, and I'll be legendary forever. Like in their small children minds, I'm like, yeah, my dad, when I was young, shot an axe head, split the bullet, hit 2 targets. Everyone's going to call him a liar, but they're going to be like, I've seen it happen.
Yeah,
it's going to be amazing.
Wait.
I fully plan on doing that.
My dad's so cool.
I'll explain that it's like a special dad power. When you become a dad, you can split bullets.
Maybe I will try that too, but I'll just do it with 9mm.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 9mm rat shot, maybe.
No, I'll do it with the 9mm. I think I might try that. That might be my next shooting experiment. That sounds like fun.
Sounds fun. I think I got an old axe head I can give you.
I got some old axe heads.
What about you, Aaron? What have you been up to?
I went to SEMA the end.
Yeah. Other than that, since you've been back,
just went to SEMA.
No one cares.
Besides SEMA, I have been doing podcast stuff when I'm not at work. I literally spent probably 4 hours building a database of all the people we met at SEMA.
All right, that's too much. Nope, stop talking. That's too much.
Not only do I have this giant stack of business cards, but I have all these pages of notes of people we talked to, and I built a giant spreadsheet. So, because I'm a nerd, and I wanted to be able to search it and plan it out and dial things in.
You should put it on one of those like boards behind you with red yarn and tacks connecting each other to dates and newspaper and magazine articles.
Yeah.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
It sounds like you're going off your computer mic or something, Ben.
The heck?
I don't know. Yeah. So besides going to SEMA, I've just been doing podcast stuff. I also, as you're going to find out, built something really fun for a listener. So,
can you hear me now?
You're going to find out. You're going to find out in a minute, Mark. Yeah, we can hear you, Ben.
Okay, good.
What if we just pretend we don't hear Ben for the rest of the show? Just ignore him.
What do you think I've been doing?
This Week in Review is brought to you by 4 Patriots. Have you ever been concerned with the shelf life of the food you take camping? Since you're a listener of the podcast, we know you at least keep some emergency food stashed in your rig. 4 Patriots sells a variety of survival food and equipment that pair great with the off-road and adventure lifestyle. 4 Patriots set up a special page for you at 4patriots.com/FRN so that listeners of the Off-Road Podcast can see this week's discounts and deals before they go away.
That's what will happen.
What? Ben, you are quiet again. I have no idea what's going on.
What?
You keep getting quieter and quieter.
Yeah.
I literally have touched nothing and I'm sitting in front of my microphone. I'm about to.
I don't know what's going on.
I'm about to get violent.
Now you're loud again.
Okay. I'm touching nothing more. And then
don't touch anything.
Or I'll get violent with my computer.
All right. So also write into us with something you'd like on your off-road Christmas list. We're going to be reading the entries in 2 weeks, you guys, on our Christmas gift guide episode on November 20th. I can't believe November 20th is in 2 weeks also. It's ridiculous. We're going to be reading those on air. We're going to pick several people at random, and we're going to be sending some gifts from our sponsors. And Mark asked if the swag was any good. It was so good, I brought a box of it home for you guys. This is going to go to a listener. So in addition to all the awesome stuff from our sponsors, one of our listeners is going to get a sweet box of swag, which includes here. I'll highlight a couple things here. I got a cool Red Arc koozie, and it's not one of those flat ones that you fold up. This one's stitched really nice. I really want to keep it, but I'm not going to keep it. It's a nice neoprene koozie. I've got a whole lot of stickers. We got some bags, some more sticker packs, literature. There's a hat in here. There's patches. There's keychains. There's a lot of awesome stuff in there. So Eric, FRN stands for the Firearms Radio Network. That is the network that our show is hosted on. So, yeah, so we got a lot of swag. We're going to be mailing it out to somebody. Somebody's going to be excited. Someone's winning. What do you got there, Ben? What are you drinking?
A Coke in my koozie.
Oh, that's a Coke. Oh, I didn't know if it was a leftover from our trip.
No.
You're quiet again, by the way.
I'm not quiet again. What the?
Ben, your mic cord's clearly gone bad.
Yep, I'm gonna switch out my.
We also want to thank our sponsor, Patriot Patch. Head over to patriotpatch.co and check out their selection of great patches, shirts, cleaning mats, signs, and stickers. You can also join the Patch of the Month Club for $15 and receive a patch, matching sticker, and artist proof each month. Wrong. It's these ones, Coy.
No, you're right. We got the new ones.
We got Projectile Pete and the eagle that says "Long Live the Republic." Here's some actual pictures of them if you want to see them a little bit bigger and clearer. Pretty sweet. That's not Bullet Bill. That is Projectile Pete.
My kid's been trying to steal that Projectile Pete from me. I had to kibosh that.
Good. Did you give him the sticker or not even that?
No.
Yeah.
My daughter stole
kids.
Epically steals my stickers, especially whenever I get a really expensive item that only comes like 1 or 2 stickers. It just disappears and is like stuck on her toy box. I'm like, you're not even into those things. Like,
yeah.
Volume now, just FYI.
She just
Good.
She sees I'm excited about a sticker, so she thinks it should be stuck on something of hers.
Well, our patches are $13 shipped from us here in the from us to you in the U.S. continental, and $10 for any additional, or $10 straight across picked up. And I actually was able to hand out a few of those while we were at SEMA, which was pretty cool. Yeah, and Aaron's shown there his on his badge, which is now going to live on his wall till the next event he goes to.
We got quite a few compliments on our badge holders, thanks to Tactical Tailor, Greg Ghost Gear, who made those for us several years ago.
Yeah, it upset quite a few security guards because they're like,
"Yeah,
who are you? Who are you with? What do you do?"
I only saw one other person that had a unique badge holder. Everyone else was using what was given to him by SEMA. So
I saw like 3 or 4. But yeah, like you, not very many.
The security guards didn't like one-off badge holders.
Well, the SEMA badge holders were different. They had a different color ribbon in them that said something in it. Oh, Ben's showing it. So there you can see it says media press at the very bottom of the badge holder. And then some of those clear badge holders were actually colored. There was a yellow and orange and a green and a purple. So they all signified something different. Kind of neat. So Ben tried to not be a naughty boy, and he put his on his. I just refused to take one at the very beginning. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to need that.
Yeah, and I just didn't want to be, or I took it just because, hey, it's something as a memory because I'm a hoarder. So, yeah.
Have tire troubles ever left you deflated? Colby Valve has got you covered. Ever have a valve stem leak? Colby Valve makes reusable and easily replaceable valve stems that don't require you to remove your tire from the wheel. They work with your off-road rig, ATV, side-by-side, commuter vehicle, or even your tractor. Never be left stranded again because of a busted valve stem. They also have a tire repair kit for those punctures that keep you away from doing your favorite thing, wheeling. Make sure to check out colbyvalve.com or ask for them at your local off-road products store.
So this first news article isn't much of a news article. It's a Facebook link to a Facebook post by some people. I forgot who it was. I'll pull it up here real quick. But Inspired Overland. That's right. So someone jacked their rooftop tent. They had an award-winning carbon fiber rooftop tent, and it went missing from the North Hall.
And it also wasn't just it was their prototype. It was
Yeah. So it sounds like it was after the show was all finished and things were getting cleaned up, and it was packed up to move from one hall to another hall, and they were waiting to load it onto the rig to take it, and it went missing. They talked to Freeman, who I'm assuming is the union that is contracted to move all the stuff. That's the only people that can move stuff in and out of the convention center. And they also talked to the Las Vegas Convention Center, and they have no idea where it is. They went and talked to security, and security said that they can't show them any security footage. Only the convention center and SEMA can ask for security footage. So bunch of BS, if you ask me. So if you guys see a rooftop tent out there, carbon fiber one,
carbon fiber,
it's like a prototype, might be stolen.
It only weighs, I think, 88 pounds, they said, so you can easily carry it by yourself.
Yeah.
That's incredibly light.
Yeah, it's saying that, but almost not surprising.
Yep.
We've got our next story here from Autoblog. You now can join in on the Ford Off-Rodeo program without owning a Bronco. So one of the perks of picking up one of the new Broncos is you get join the Off-Rodeo program, which is a 10-hour off-road school for new owners. But that was the only way you could join in on that fun and learn. The program has opened up its 3 locations and shortened the programs for non-owners so that they can experience off-roading as well as the big Bronco SUV. The program is shortened to 4 hours compared to the owner's version, but otherwise similar to the full thing. You get to drive the big Bronco at famous off-road locations with guidance from trail experts. They get the same access to the main base camp locations that provide amenities such as snacks. The difference is that Ford provides the Bronco for off-roading rather than people using the one that they just bought. While you may not have your own Bronco for this experience, it's just Ford is hoping that it might pick up, according to one of the representatives. Just over 8% of guests to the regular events ended up buying a new Ford not long after, and 63% of those were Bronco owners. So it's pretty cool. And since the off-rodeo program doesn't involve buying a Bronco, Ford does have a fee to charge. It costs $795, which, ouch. But at the same time, you do get that experience of that 4-hour class. So, and you get to drive someone else's vehicle. So it's kind of a good trade-off. You've got to be 18, have your own valid driver's license to book a reservation. Up to 3 guests can come and join. They must be at least 12 years old. And the guests can also drive unless they book a separate vehicle. Your time is split up amongst the drivers in the vehicle for an extra $75. You can get a damage waiver that will limit your costs that you're liable to in the event of crash up to $3,500. And there's and the locations that are open up are Moab, Las Vegas, Moab, Utah, Horseshoe Bay, and Texas. Oh, I'm sorry. It's Las Vegas, Moab, and Texas are the 3 locations that are open.
Yeah.
Troy, you'll find out in the next ad, right?
Well, I would think that maybe we don't just tell him a brand of winch. We give him a recommendation on what winch.
Oh, yeah.
I would say go with that M12,000 from Warren. I had an M8000. That great winch. My only question is, he says that's for a Hummer. Are those a 24-volt system?
I believe that there's 12-volt systems on them, and they don't weigh that much. I'm pretty sure he wouldn't have any issues getting away with a 10,000-pound winch. And isn't the Evo series on sale right now through somebody?
Yes, the Evo series is on sale through Northridge, I believe.
Oh, that's true. They're like $300 for an Evo right now.
But they do have Warren does sell some 24-volt winches as well.
Yeah, that's going to be on their
They
commercial
do,
side,
yeah.
I believe. And then I think their regular ones can be wired or configured that way. I'm not 100% sure though.
He does say yes, 24 volt. I thought the Humvees were 12 and 24 volt. So maybe I'm thinking of something else. I know that my LMTV was 12 and 24 volt. So
What does your Troy? What
that's
does
gonna
your
be the trick
Hummer
part.
weigh? I was going to Google it, but you're right here. You just tell us. I'm sure you know. I assume that's what, 6,000 pounds. They got to have some heft to them.
Google says 52 to 5,900 pounds.
That's lighter than I would have thought. That's insane.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, 12,000 pounds.
So a Hummer weighs the same as my FJ essentially. I'm like 5,500 with the loadout I run normally.
Yeah.
I guess airbags add a lot of weight. I don't know. It's just insane that would be similar weights.
When you multiply that times 1.5, you get 8,850 pounds. So a 10K winch would be more than enough.
Oh, he says his spec is 7,400. That rings
that's
a little bit more true to me, just off the butt meter of when I'm in vehicles. But yeah, the 24 volt, I know Warren makes 24 volt winches. I'm not super familiar with those since hardly anybody, runs 24 volt around here. But I know a lot of the tow truck stuff and more commercial side run that. And Warren does make those. So I just get on the old Warren website, look at their 24 volt stuff. 10,000 would do it. Yeah. Even 7,000. You could go 10 or 12. Either way, it's not going to hurt anything.
And and theoretically, you could, I believe, wire it up for 12 volts still. I don't exactly know how, but I'm sure there's some guys on some some Humvee forums that would be able to show you how to wire it up. Because I swear I've seen some wired up for 12 volt.
I figured out your mic problem, Ben.
What's it?
You changed one of the mic settings on your board. Guarantee it. It's way directional right now.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, see, now it's perfect.
Yes, because he looked directly into it. But you turn your head a quarter of an inch and it gets quiet. It's a setting on your board, for sure.
That's my microphone. Oh, how about now? I wonder if that will help.
Yeah,
yes,
that helps a whole bunch.
Okay, there we go. So
what was it?
My low cut button.
Okay, so your low cut button. Coy and I will remember that next time this happens.
Yeah, and it's because of my it's raining outside, so it's probably trying to cut out that sound.
Nice. I like spending half the show troubleshooting audio. It's my favorite.
Yeah.
Well, should we get into our main topic, guys?
That sounds like a good idea.
Go prepared with Warren Industries. They produced the first recreational winch in 1959 and lead the industry with their dedication to quality and reliability. When you dig yourself in deep, make sure you have the right tools to get yourself out. Get Warren equipped and go where others can't. Now, let's get ready for adventure and head into our main topic.
Well, we are alive. We came back. Aaron didn't lose me. I didn't lose Aaron. Or at least that's what we're saying, right?
That's the official word.
That's the official word. Yeah.
Wait. Lose each other permanently, but there's no... me and Aaron lost you at Overland Rally. Like, there's no way. I call full BS that Aaron wasn't walking along and just turned around and went, where's Bet? Why he's supposed to be right here.
Which time?
That never happened.
It only happened one time, I think. We stuck together we stuck together really well.
like peanut butter and jelly. Like
Yeah.
There was one time, and it was I lost you for what, like 30 seconds.
We were just kind of cutting through a hall, and Ben went around a booth instead of continuing on straight. And yeah.
And then I'm like, Mom, you.
Shannon Daly says, "Hey, gentlemen, I just purchased a 1979."
I wonder
Is
if it's
that
supposed to be
Baja?
Baja.
Misspelled. Windshield wipers don't work. Did they work on any of them? I mean, that was like windshield wipers and heaters on those bugs were kind of, they technically they're there, but do they work?
Yeah. I don't know. Well, I want to not start the show over, but I want to cut back to the very beginning where Ben breaks into Griot's garage and Aaron wrecks a Mercedes. Let's clear some stuff up here. So let's see. Here's a picture of Ben
Breaking and entering.
breaking and entering. Why don't you tell that story, Ben?
Let's see. What was that? Was that like the second day?
Yeah. Doesn't
Yes.
matter what day it was. It's just
So when you get to SEMA as media, you get to go through the doors 30 minutes early. Unfortunately, half the vendors are still setting up or getting back to their booths. And we happened to be walking across a guy trying to get into his booth. And this little doorknob thing was not working and unlocking. So he couldn't get into his booth. So me being the guy that I am was like, oh, you need some help with that? And I tried a couple of implements, and soon I borrowed a stabbing prying device, and I popped the lock on it and got in. And the guy from Griot's, was it Rob, I think his name was?
I don't recall.
He was very happy.
When you pop a lock for somebody, it's like how to tell somebody you were a juvenile delinquent without actually telling them you were a juvenile delinquent. You had to learn how to do that somewhere, Ben.
I constantly lost my keys to my house when I was a kid, or left them at home, so I had to break into my house all the time.
Sure.
And that has not changed at all. I've had to break into my house several times still.
I'm surprised he didn't lock himself out of the hotel room. He was really good. They only gave us one card each for our hotel rooms.
Yeah,
Well,
I was really big on making sure that I
feel like in the neighborhood your hotel was in, you don't want loose keys floating around or any extras for a cleaner to pick up or anything. Like, that's just how you get all your stuff stolen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I was extra paranoid.
And I'm more worried about wrecking a Mercedes. Like, I need to know about this.
Well, so I was
Traxxas
interviewing.
makes a nice Mercedes RC car. So did you wreck a 6x6 Mercedes?
Who was I was interviewing. It was our very first interview. Quadratech. I was interviewing Quadratech, and interview finishes up. I turn around, and there's Annie and Mercedes standing there waiting to talk to us, which made me feel like a king that Annie and Mercedes would wait to talk to us. They saw us filming. They waited till we finished up so they could say hi to us, which made me feel really, really cool. So Ben gives Andy a hug, and I reach in to give Mercedes a hug, and she's coming to give me a hug also. And the strap on my backpack like rams right into her forehead. The plastic buckle did. And she's like, ow, ow, ow. And like, I'm like, I don't know what's happening. So I'm still trying to hug her. She's like, no, pushing me away. Yeah.
In the middle of SEMA, everybody was like, oh, look, a predator.
Yeah.
Assaulting her. I guess it's Vegas.
Yeah. Yep. So,
In front,
I didn't scratch her. She didn't have any actual damage, but Apparently it was painful having that rammed into her forehead. So yeah,
Brown
I didn't
discomfort.
Yes, I didn't wreck an actual Mercedes. I just hurt Mercedes. So that's that quick little story.
So
So
let's get on to what I need to talk about, though, guys. How many narrow 37s did you guys get in the works here? Like, how many choices
we
I'm
saw
gonna
one.
have by next
We
year?
saw one. I sent it to you. I sent it to you, Coy.
You did. Actually,
Why
that
don't
was a 38, I think.
There's a 37, but why don't you tell people why you think there should be skinny 37s? Because I've never heard you talk about pizza cutters.
It just makes perfect sense. Here's the deal. All of us Toyota guys, Nissan guys, everybody who's running IFS, we worked our way up to 35s. And then we wheeled a whole bunch, and then everybody else got 35s as well, you know. And so now I'm not on bigger tires than everybody else. I really liked that. Look at those.
Well, there's the Narrow 37 right there.
Yep.
It is.
I found one. Unfortunately, this tire, so this is a new product showcase, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but this is a 37 by 10.5 on a 15-inch rim, specifically for UTVs. So if you want 37s on your UTV, there's an option right there for you. Unfortunately, it's a 15-inch rim, which is too small for any of us. Yeah.
You stack enough
It's a bummer.
space, it'll work.
If I get rid of my brakes, I could run
all of us IFS guys that want to bump up to the next tire size. Yeah, I can go 37s. Now I just got to cut my fender wells out and do all this work to fit a 37. It would be a lot. Like, it's not just trimming a body mount, taking off some fender flares and a little plastic on the bumper. Like, for almost every IFS rig, that 35 to 37 jump is a much bigger jump than it is from that 33 to 35.
Well,
But if it was, instead of a 1350 or 1250 37, it was a 1050, I could pretty much just bolt a narrow 37 onto my truck. It would be right there, and it would be very little work for me to make that fit. Yeah, I would rub under articulation, but it's the width that's really getting you on these IFS rigs, not that extra inch of height or inch, you know, in the wheel well. So if these companies, and I'm really saying any company at this point, would make me a GD 37 skinny, I could run 37s with little to no work on my end. Probably actually not lose that much gas mileage compared to my 1250 35s, getting a nice narrow 37. And guess what? Then I'm on 37s. I got bigger tires than everybody else. I can talk a bunch of crap. And then everybody else is also going to want to buy 37s, especially if it's not that much work. There's not going to be that many guys that are currently running 35s. If you offer them a 37 that will fit with almost no work, that are going to turn you down the book. Well, that's my next step.
Right. Just jump right up to it.
Every guy I know that has 35s would just be like, oh, I'm doing 37s next. Like, when these wear out, I'm doing 37s. So,
yeah, it'll be less rotating mass. It'll probably be about the same as a 35 for rotating, a wide 35 for rotating mass.
Now, I'm not even getting into the argument of skinny versus narrow off-road. Like, we can go all over the place on that, but the extra inch is going to help. I've never heard anybody say, man, I wish I was an inch shorter.
Right?
Yeah,
Totally agree. Well,
how many vendors did we talk to about tires? How many were there?
Yeah, we championed your cause to about 5 different tire manufacturers.
Yeah. So I'm expecting probably 3 or 4 narrow 37s for next year.
Probably 0.
That's disappointing.
Two of them listened to us. The rest didn't think that it was important at all. So, we talked to Falcon, we talked to Cooper, we talked to Kenda. I know there's a couple more that we talked to.
A Toro, ATO.
A Toro, yeah, a Toro. That guy said, listen, we sell Brodozer tires. We probably never do anything skinny. Probably shouldn't have said that on the air.
He was just straight up with you.
Yeah, he was just definitely straight up with us.
I respect that. Like,
Yeah.
So who are the two that listened? I'll like, I'll give them some respect.
Kenda and Falcon.
Yeah, Kinda and Falcon.
Falcon.
And-
I would take a Falcon or a Kenda Narrow 37 at this point.
Well, and the interesting thing is Kinda already does. They do a narrow 35. Though them and Nitto were two of the original narrow 35s. So,
Yes, Lifeline Fab. Yes, I can get some narrow bias ply intercoat tires. You are that is fully true. There are several. I'm wanting a radio in like a mud terrain. I don't know what just happened there. That was a weird echo.
I don't either.
Yeah.
That's
So
weird.
if I could just get like a regular old mud terrain in a 11-inch wide or 10.5-inch wide, 37-inch tire, I will even take a BFG that's really not a 37, is actually like a 36. I would take that.
Well, that just guarantees it'll fit better.
It would still be bigger, and I could say
Yeah.
I had, I would still gain some.
All right, let's I want to give you guys some stats about SEMA specifically. So over 130,000 people were scheduled to go to SEMA this year, and 80% of those were from the US. I think 19% of the 20 that weren't from the US, I think were from China. There were over 2,000 vendors there, over 1,500 featured vehicles. I wish I would have looked up what it takes to be a featured vehicle, because that bar must be pretty low. Over 3,000 products in the SEMA new product showcase, 4.6 million square feet of indoor show space, 4.6 million, and another 2.2 million of exhibit space outside in multiple areas around the convention center. I got a couple pictures here to show off. This is the layout of SEMA. So Ben and I spent most of our time in the West Hall, that blue area. Outside of it, not in that gray area, but outside of it, it was a parking lot that they had the Overlander exhibit and some Brodozers. And then you could take a sky bridge to get to the North Hall, where it was mostly anything about electronics, car stereo stuff. And then you pop into the center hall, and that's where all the hot rods are, all the engine stuff is. The Battle of the Builders was in the center hall, and I've got a picture to show you guys for the center hall in a minute. And then outside of the center hall was a giant parking lot called the Silver Lot, that had drifting going on, and another spot that had Hoonigan burnout contest stuff. And then the south lower hall, the yellow, was all wheels and tires. And then up above that, that was the only one that had our second floor of exhibit space, was tools and equipment and collision repair, paint, finish stuff, things like that. And actually, that's where we got the best swag, was in that area, by the way. So kind of interesting. Although it could have been because it was the last day that people were giving stuff away. I'm not quite sure. So lots of stuff happening outside. And then here's a picture of the center hall. And that's the Empire State Building laid on its side. So the Empire State Building is 1,454 feet tall. And the length of the interior of this building is 1,235 feet tall. So that is like 221 feet less, or the Empire State Building is 221 feet taller than how wide this building is on the inside. Pretty wild.
and we felt that too. We really did.
Yeah. Why don't you give some stats about us, Ben?
All right. So we walked 109,000 steps each day
No.
on average.
No.
No,
Each.
109,000 steps each over the course of the week, averaging 11 miles each day. Some days more, some days just barely less. We burning almost 8,000 calories just from walking. literally just from walking.
Think
And
about how many calories you burned from talking as well, because you're walking and talking. Like there's interviews, you're chatting to each other. There's probably at least 8,050.
It was when
50
not-
talking calories.
Yeah.
when did I not talk?
I pulled up a little stat because that 4.6 million square footage is kind of like that's hard to wrap my brain around. So
Yeah.
I Googled the average square footage of a Walmart. So that is 182,000 is the average square footage of a Walmart. I'm assuming they're counting the stock in the back as well. That's this entire building. So you don't get to go in the whole Walmart. So there's another third back there that has stock. So that's what?
How many square feet? 180,000?
182,000, yeah. How many Walmarts is that building?
30. It's over 37 Walmarts.
That's big. That's pretty big.
I mean, some of those vendors could be in Walmart. Some of them probably make stuff for Walmart.
Walmart was actually was actually at SEMA.
So is eBay. Well, they sell stuff online too. So yeah, it was crazy. Like the amount of walking we did. I mean, one day I think we walked like 13 miles. Was it 13 miles one day?
Yeah, it was 13 miles one day. Here's one more thing to compare it to. There's 43,560 square feet in an acre. So SEMA takes up 156 acres of inside and outside exhibit space only.
Yeah. And we weren't just like walking the perimeter, we walked the aisles.
Yeah, we pretty much walked almost every single aisle in SEMA.
Yeah. Because we wanted to see all the things.
Even the non-off-road related aisles, you went through all the everything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
But we didn't thoroughly walk the electronics,
That's true.
but we walked a lot of the electronics area. But like the West Hall, I want to say we walked through the West Hall probably 3 times. Thoroughly.
We probably walked through it 2 complete times. And that's the biggest hall. The West Hall itself is the newest hall, and it has 1.4 million square feet all by itself. So there's a lot happening there. So the first day.
Oh, hang on. I got one more here. So
okay.
the Boeing building, the massive one that they make airplanes in, that's 4,300,000 square feet. It's a little smaller.
So it's 1.5 of those buildings. So the first day when we left SEMA, it was busy. Everybody it closes at 5:00 and everybody heads for the monorail because that's most of how you get to and from SEMA is the monorail. And we waited for 45 minutes to get in line, not to get in line, but in line till we finally got on the monorail. And we got 5 minutes into our monorail trip and it broke down on us. So, and it was standing room only in this monorail. It was pretty.
Is the monorail like up in the air? I've never been on the monorail in Vegas. Is it?
Yeah, it's only about 30 feet in the air. So
it's not like you could just be like, I'll just get out here. It's not like a light rail in Portland where you can just
I mean,
walk off.
if you walked off, you would be a puddle on the ground. Yeah.
And to top it off, Aaron is standing by the doors. Right. Fortunately enough, I was sitting. I was comfortable.
Yeah. And Ben talked about how many steps we walked. We sat down when we rode the monorail. Then we walked and stood and interviewed. We sat down for lunch. Then we walked and stood and interviewed till 5:00. And then we rode the monorail back home. We essentially stood the entire time. There wasn't any chance there was chances, but we didn't have time. We hoofed it and booked it and we did everything.
We were
Do you think you could get some of those pants with a built-in chair like next year, or you could just
That
lock
would
in.
have been nice.
A
Yeah.
like a knee scooter just to like push around fast.
So next year we get the pants with a built-in chair for you. For Ben, we get one of those backpacks with like the retractable leash, so we could just tie them off to us like a mountain climber. Like when you're in avalanche country, and you know, one guy might slip, we keep Ben on a 30-foot.
Yeah. I joked about that as we're stuck in the monorail. And there's this shorter, stouter guy next to me. And I didn't have anything to hang on to. And this whole time you're riding the monorail, it's like, you got to hang on. Please hang on to the grab rails. And I joked to the guy because I'm leaning against the doors. I said, if these doors open, just, I'm going to reach out and I'm going to grab for you. Because there was a lady to my left and then this guy on my right. So I'm going to grab your arm. And he's like, well, that's a nice way to introduce yourself. You're going to try to kill me. I said, no, I'm warning you so you can hang on tight. I want you to hang on tight. I want us to both live. I don't want to fall out.
I'm not trying to use you as a landing pad. I want you to keep me from falling. Yeah.
I did tell him that if he's like, oh, great, I'm going to just like completely get crushed when we hit the ground. I said, yeah, you will, because I'll rotate so that you'll be the one to hit the ground first. I'll make sure that you die so that you're not like maimed for life. And it turned out that he was the VP of Snap-on.
Like, wow, your face hit me right in the knee. The VP of Snap-on. So we getting Snap-on now on the show?
Probably not.
I was sitting down because I was quick on my movement and found a seat quickly. And like, there's like guys standing like, do you guys want to switch spots? Do you want to sit down? Because they're like complaining about being sore from walking around all day. And I'm like, I know I walked more than you, but whatever. But I'm just having fun talking to everybody. I'm like, you want to sit down? I'm like, everyone's like, no, all that politeness. I'm like, well, if you want to sit, you can always sit on my lap. And I tapped my lap. It was hilarious.
Tell Santa Claus what you want for Christmas.
Pretty much. I said something along the, I was like, you can sit on my lap and be my little buddy.
So tell me more about the monorail though. Like, how do you fix it? Or does another monorail come up and just push you somewhere else, or how?
Apparently they send a guy because no one is driving the train. And then 15 minutes later, it starts working miraculously.
So a guy just came up and hit a reset button basically, and then it moved again, probably.
We have no idea. They don't tell us. You can't see anything.
Yeah. It lost Bluetooth connection. He just had to reconnect.
I was making jokes about it being Firestone tires and a Ford engine. So
good. Well, Firestone's definitely not making my Narrow 37 now. So there's another one off the list. Now we're at 6 that aren't going to make my tire. Well, I have a little list of questions for the both of you.
Yeah.
So what was the overall impression and kind of vibe you're getting and giving at SEMA? Like, how'd you feel about it? You walk in, was it you were excited? Everybody was excited. Like, how did it make you feel just walking in there?
Go ahead, Ben.
I was at first very overwhelmed. I'm glad that we snuck in the day before, because it kind of just like, okay, this is where everything is. And we were able to kind of get a lay of the land. It was kind of nice because like I can look at that crappy map and be like, okay, here's stuff, but you don't grasp the size at all looking at a map. It just looks like, oh, the vendor space could be 10 by 10, but realistically it's 30 by 30 square foot area. And some of the booths were bigger, some of them weren't, and it really didn't show it that well on the map. And so it was like kind of crazy at first, but like after everybody got set up and we got comfortable, like I had a smile on my face the entire day. I was just in my element.
Well, you, Aaron?
I don't think I was overwhelmed. I think that SHOT Show kind of prepared me for how big trade shows can be. But I was like grinning from ear to ear. There was so much eye candy. And when I mean eye candy, I'm talking about vehicles and accessories, not booth babes, because there wasn't really much for booth babes there.
You gotta go to the
It was
you gotta go to the boat show for that.
okay. It was
Yeah.
there was just so much. I was excited to just like dig in and just start pounding pavement, walking down all these aisles and checking everything out. I was super excited. So Badland Industries says, but wait, there's more. So we ran into Badland Industries while we were there on the first day, which was pretty cool. We were walking through one of the sky bridges or something, and he saw us and called us out. So that was neat to run into him. We didn't get to see him any of the rest of the show. We would love to talk some more with you.
Did he just see the off-road podcast shirts and recognize that, or
I don't know if he saw Ben's face or if he saw the shirts. Either of them, like they're iconic. You can't.
yeah, they're definitely
not know.
recognizable. There's no two
Yes.
alike.
Yeah.
All right, so what like surprised you most at SEMA? I mean, there's all this stuff going on. You had to have all these kind of preconceived notions. What caught you mostly, like where you're like, wow, I didn't expect that?
I expected there to be more people. I'd seen pictures of SEMA, and it looked like as people walked down the halls, they were shoulder to shoulder and just packed in there. I expected that. I didn't see that till the very last day when they opened it to the general public. It was very casual to walk through to talk to people. I mean, there were times where you may have to wait 5 or 10 minutes to talk to somebody in a booth, but it wasn't intense. And I also didn't see a bunch of people walking around just being swag whores, like just taking, like go for booth to booth, grabbing stuff, not even talking to people, just grabbing and going. I didn't see that very much.
We saw it though.
Yeah, absolutely.
For me, oh geez, what was the thing that surprised me most? You know, I'd have to say it was the lack of booth babes. As much of a thing, like I expect, like with trade shows, like the Gun Bunnies, it being a car one, tons of booth babes. I didn't really see any until the last day, and frankly, I mean, it's kind of nice.
I don't think that's a thing anymore. Like when I was like 14, you go to drag races. Like there was kind of a thing where that happened, but like I think that's kind of all past.
I think it has, and it's kind of nice because like I go to SEMA for the cars and the equipment, and not to stare at some chick and nothing.
You know, you can say that you miss it, but like think of all the guys back in the day that were like, oh, my girlfriend, she's a professional model, and he got to like throw that brag out. None of that happening now. Now it's just like she models on Instagram and no clout.
She's got an OnlyFans. Like we heard some guy talking about.
And just think of all those chicks that got paid, you know, $200 a day to go be a booth babe somewhere. All that out of the economy, gone. Like you're looking at it from the wrong end of things.
Oh, like, they were some there. They were
most skill job that paid well, and
they were mostly in the wheel and tire area.
Yeah,
that sounds right.
Yeah,
with the Lambo guys.
All right, guys. How about favorite vehicle at SEMA? Like, obviously, there's thousands of vehicles there, but you gotta have one. What's the favorite?
When I saw mine, I told Ben right then and there, I'm claiming this one. This was the second night of SEMA, so we were 50% of the way through the show, and here it is. I'm pulling up on screen now.
Where'd it go?
Stop! I keep clicking on it, and then you keep clicking on it too. So here it is. It is it's a Hummer. Of course, Aaron picks a military vehicle, right? No. For the audio listeners, let me describe it to you. It is a rat-rotted Hummer, but everything's like with clean, nice parts, not that rusty looking stuff. So basically there's no hood or front fenders on this Hummer, and it is bobbed front and rear. It is just slammed to the ground. It's like a navy blue color. It looks awesome. It's on 40s, and it's just slammed to the ground. Super cool. You'll have to check it out on our Facebook page when we dump it there. It's a really neat build. It's ridiculous, but I would love to cruise around in this thing. You get so many looks with this Hummer.
I would run into everything in that, like the visibility. Already not that great on a Hummer. Now the tires are like in the way. It'd be fun, but man,
that's okay. The tires would act like the bumpers. They're rubber. You just bounce off stuff.
Yeah, but not real. I'm thinking like people and cars, but yeah, no, I agree. What about you, Ben?
So I don't know. There's so many vehicles, but my favorite is Radflow's little dune buggy creation here, and I didn't get too close of a look at it with pictures.
That's a Baja Bug, technically, right?
Baja Bug that's got some travel to it. If you look closely at the front fenders there, you can see some shock hoops for the coilovers sticking out the top. It just looked like a machine made for fun, and I absolutely loved it. I probably should have gone over to it and took a bunch more pictures, but I was just tired because if you look, it's at night in this picture, just like with Aaron's. That was that second night, and we were out late that night. So,
all right. So, obviously, lots of vehicles, but there's lots of products as well. Give us one favorite product. And you know what? I'm going to add this question so you guys think about it. Also, the worst product. There's got to be a product where you just rubbed your head. Like I saw Andy posted a picture of what looked like a traction board / fuel can. It was like, it would be horrible at both of those things. So give us your favorite. And if you saw one that was just the most ridiculous, dumbest thing ever, throw that out there too.
You got one off the top of your head, Ben?
I don't know. This one's kind of a love-hate one for me. It was one of the those top ones, the award-winning ones. And
okay.
It's this stack of shovels here. Looks pretty cool. You've got like a crazy beaver looking shovel, you've got a standard shovel, and then you've got a sand shovel, and they all stack together. Pretty lightweight, compact. And then it's like $500.
Is it just one handle that you switch between the heads?
Nope, they're mostly skinny or thin.
They're all, it's like stamped steel. It's two pieces. It's the shovel head itself, and then the handle is all one stamped ribbed piece, and it's riveted to the head. And there's three of them, and they nest. Yeah. I think it's clever, but like Ben said, I think it was $475 or something like that.
I mean, it's definitely tactical looking, but I mean, you can just go buy a shovel for like $23. That's better than all those, but it looks cool. I'll give them that.
Yeah,
that was your favorite, or the one you hated, Ben?
That'd be my hated. All
right, what's your favorite? Give us a favorite.
I'd have to go with. This makes me sound like some fanboy. It was Radflow's new shocks they just came out with. They've got they're tuned for overlanding, so overloaded shocks essentially. But they've
extra heavy duty.
They're hitting the market hard. They're still small family-owned business, and they're tuned for overlanding. They're coming out with a bunch of new products, and that was the one that they were kind of spearheading at SEMA.
Maybe we'll have to have them back on. I need to send mine in for a rebuild, and I think I want to get new springs on mine. So
I thought you just had them rebuilt like 2 years ago.
Yeah, like 40,000 miles ago. I put some miles. I got 150,000
Man.
on my truck now. So yeah.
I missed this comment, but Mark said he'd watch that Herbie movie, referring to that Baja Bug. Absolutely. For me, the product I didn't care for, I walked past this booth, the Chinese company, and they had a tonneau cover. They had a what's that pull out bed, like a bed tray?
Yeah.
No, sorry, it wasn't a bed tray. It was two individual drawers. It was two individual drawers and a tonneau cover. No, sorry. It was a fastback tonneau cover style. That's what it was.
Oh,
And everything was on electric actuators. So the fastback like raised up really, really slow on these electric actuators, and both drawers were on electric actuators, and they slid out individually. And I thought there was a third thing that was on the actuators, but like, I don't know what it cost to put those in, but I can only imagine them failing not very long in an off-road environment. You get dust and dirt and junk in them, and they were so slow. And it's like, are you that lazy that you can't open a tonneau cover, or you can't pull a drawer out yourself? You have to have a key fob to open and close them.
I think I have that same feeling where it's like you can't just open the drawer and close it. But since I have the swing out style door on the back of my FJ, if you're parked on the right hill or the right angle, that you pop the latch and the door goes into murder mode and it tries to knock you off cliffs and stuff. So there's a few spots where I could see where you could be parked on a steep incline. You're like, oh, I'm just going to open, and then it just rams you in the stomach and knocks you back 10 feet. Maybe a nice slow actuator. There is a tiny segment for that.
Yeah. And then the thing I thought was really clever, it might not be the most clever thing, but it's definitely one that jumps to my mind, is there's this rearview mirror called the Legend, and it's actually a screen, not a mirror. It doesn't function very well as a standalone mirror. But it's got like a Switch Pro built into it. So it's a touch screen, and it's a screen, so you can control any light through it that you have wired up to it, just like a Switch Pro. It also has a forward recording camera, and then you can hook up 2 or 3 other cameras to it. They could be anywhere. It was really clever. And then the lights that you have hooked up to it, there's a sub menu for each light that you can make them strobe, different strobe functions. You can dim the lights to whatever brightness you want through the panel. It was really cool. And it also has GPS built into the mirror, so that at a certain speed, you could tell the Switch Pro thing to be like, at 40 miles an hour, I want every driving light turned on, period. Or when I slow down to 5 miles an hour, I want my ditch lights on. Or if I go above 10 miles an hour, I want my ditch lights off. And then also would show your speed on the mirror as well, if you wanted to show you the speed of how fast you're going. I thought that was a pretty cool product. There's a lot of functionality to it.
That was art, light art key.
Yeah. If I didn't already have some of those systems already, that would be something I would definitely look into. But I've already got a hardwired switch panel, and I've already got a backup camera. Badlands says it was $600, which is correct.
That's less than I thought. I mean, if you get a Switch Pros or anything like that, kind of a pre-wired solution like that, they're right there.
Yeah, and it's a backup camera and dash cam at the same time.
So, what was the other one? The Spod, the S Pod or whatever.
Yeah,
S Pod, $550. Like,
yeah.
All right.
I
go
ahead. Look at this. Up on the screen here is this JL. It was absolutely ridiculous. If you look at the front underneath the bumper, where they mounted their
Max Tracks,
kind of like a skid plate wind deflector thing, just screams, hey, rip me off, like rip me off.
I mean, I like the idea. It's like, that's a nice spot to put them, I guess, but I don't know how strong the MaxTrax mounting system is, but I'm assuming when you're putting a full JL on it, it would just like any kind of ledge or anything you rub that on is just immediately ripping those off, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Or even if you did like smashed into some water real hard and had a nice big wave, I bet it would rip it off.
Yeah.
So basically, you're just giving away MaxTrax at that point.
Yeah. They self-deploy at that point.
It's self-deploy. That's a good way to say it. Self-deploy.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Now we got a few more questions. This may be the most important question, at least the most important to me.
Is this going to make?
I put this above my narrow 37-inch tire. I just want you to know that's how passionate I am about this question.
Okay.
How was the food in Vegas?
Is this going to make it or break it if you go to SEMA?
Me going to SEMA?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I've been to Vegas. I know how food is. So this is a rhetorical question.
Okay. Well, I got bad news for you. Good food ain't cheap, and cheap food ain't good.
You guys didn't hit the $6.99 shrimp buffet?
I didn't find a $6.99 shrimp buffet anywhere. Ben told me about this place that served $5 steaks, and it turns out they don't serve $5 steaks anymore. I don't know how long ago that was.
Down at Spearmint Rhino. Yeah. They're like $12 now. Did you guys ever go to Ellis Island?
No, that was the place that was supposed to have the $5 steaks.
Oh, it no longer have that, huh?
No, they don't have a buffet there.
And like breakfast for them started after SEMA started. And I don't know, everything was expensive. Like even going to McDonald's was expensive. More expensive than it is at home.
So where did
and then they charge you tax.
Yeah, where did you eat mostly?
The grocery store.
Yes.
Yes,
went in and
Sunday.
bought the fixings.
We flew in Sunday, and then Ben and I walked 2 miles to a grocery store, and then 2 miles back carrying groceries in our backpacks. And there's no refrigerator in the hotel, so we could only buy dry goods. And then we tried to live off of those. We probably had half of our meals off of those dry goods. Actually, I bet we did 2/3 of our meals off of the dry goods.
I appreciate what you guys did, though, guys, but with what you're doing, you need to do more of a fasting, eating situation. You should have gone and gorged yourself nearly to death. And when I say nearly to death, I actually mean it in the evenings, and then just not ate the rest of the day. The next night, you go buy that $83 burrito that feeds 12 people that I sent you and has like 6 pounds of nacho cheese. Eat as much of that as you can. If you can, the whole thing. And it'll tide you over like a bear getting ready for hibernation.
I can't do that. I would die.
Badlands Industries says 7-Eleven on nearly every corner. Bro, have you had a 7-Eleven Big Bite hot dog?
I've had a Big Bite hot dog go right through me.
It's the best. So you got to build up a tolerance, obviously, but it's the best hot dog there is. Do not sleep on the Big Bite hot dog. There is no. I was
reminded that I don't like tuna fish that much.
Yeah,
that was one of my big comeaways from the food we bought at the grocery store. They've got these foil packets that are flavored tuna fish, and bought some Ritz crackers. So that was part of our lunch, was some protein and crackers. Whew, man, that was rough choking that down for me. I'm not a fish eater. I don't, if it tastes fishy, I
just want to throw this out there. So you're out trying to do interviews and you're eating tuna for lunch. Can you guys just run some of these ideas by me? Like, hi. Oh, no order we get interviews.
Yeah, I should have bought a pack of gum too while we were at the grocery store.
Well, you guys got lots of interviews. It's fine.
No, we had Chinese breath mints though, Aaron. Those were really strong.
Yeah, I don't have any over here anymore. I ate them all.
What was the most memorable moment at SEMA for each of you? Like that iconic moment? Ben, go ahead.
So we got invited up to the Nora gala I want to call it. I don't know. It was like a dinner thing that they had. We got it invited up to it, and
How was the food? Just
uh,
kidding.
oh, the food was nachos, and it was
It was a
really
nacho. It was a nacho bar.
yeah, it was a nacho
That-
bar.
That's right up my alley.
I made a bowl full of nachos, and I'm like trying to eat it, and then I got a drink ticket. I got 2 drink tickets, and so I went and grabbed a drink, and so I've got a whiskey and whiskey and something else, and nachos, and I'm like trying to just like I'm hungry. I've been eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for dinner. I'm like, okay, this is real food. And then I've got people walking up to me like, oh, hi, I'm so and so, and like I recognize these people. I'm like, wow. And just before we had gone up was probably the biggest moment to me was meeting this gentleman right here.
What? That had nothing to do with the gala.
He was going up there too. That's where we were supposed to meet him at, but we met him just before. That's
State Senator Mark Maynard of West Virginia.
So it's the first politician I've ever met. And I thought it was pretty cool. Dude was really down to earth, and he fights for a lot of the same things we do. Land use, he's two-way friendly, and just was overall a really cool guy. So it was kind of cool to meet Mark Maynard. So yeah, you thought I was going somewhere else with that, right, Aaron?
I was confused with the politician because like half the like you're like, this is the coolest moment ever, and I get he's into off-roading, but the other half time you're like, only good politician is one hanging from an overpass. So I didn't know where you're going with politicians there, but he sounds like he does a lot for the off-road community.
He's probably one of the few where we agree in enough places where I wouldn't be stringing him up off the side of a building for how I feel about a lot of politicians.
I'm sure he'll be glad to hear that.
You know,
Aaron, how about you? Most memorable moment?
I was gonna say the gala also, and I'll talk about a little more than Ben did. We made so many good contacts there, and everyone was so friendly. And I think the point of the gala is for you to meet people that you don't know, and so people were approaching us that we had no idea. So you don't just go stand and hang out with your friends. You go talk to people that you've never met before. You introduce yourself, and that was super neat meeting people that I wouldn't normally have a chance to meet because I wouldn't know how to look for them. It was pretty cool. So
how did you get
that was
invited to this gala?
Through Orba. So earlier in the day we had helped with a all women's off-road panel.
Yep.
So they had
that was
what?
the day. That was the day before that.
Was it?
Yeah. This was just the day that we actually went in and we met.
That's right. That's right. We met them ahead of time. That's why I tied those together. We met up with the Orba people the day before, and that's how we found out about the gala was through them. So
yeah, we met Alexis and Fred's like, oh, you guys got to come up. If you won't let you in, just tell them you're with me and they'll let you in.
Oh, nice. So we know who to say we're with next year.
Yes.
Yep.
All right, guys. This is the last question, but this is more of a hypothetical. So one of our listeners, he's like, been always wanting to go to SEMA. Does he go on a SEMA trip? Do you tell him to go to Moab? Do you tell him to do like Rubicon destination wheeling? Like, where do you put it in all these four-wheel drive guy destination vacations? Is it a must do for everybody, or where are we at?
I think it's a higher than any of those things, because you can go to Moab, you can go to the Rubicon pretty much anytime you want. Maybe not year round, but if you've got the funds to get there, you can go do it. SEMA, except for I think this is the first year they open it up. They open up the last day to people off the street. If you have an opportunity to go to SEMA, you should jump on it. it's ridiculous. There's so much stuff there. I think that if I didn't have any podcast responsibilities, I probably could have gone up and down every single aisle within the 4 allotted days. I could have probably seen every item at SEMA. That's how much there is.
What are you thinking?
I agree with Aaron. I think if you care about the industry and the products and the companies like who are making some of the stuff you own, I think it should be really, really high up on your list. Maybe not over going out and doing your wheeling, but it's kind of like a once. If it's only one thing you can do once, I mean, go do it. Because I mean, I've been to like swap meets and smaller trade shows, and there's just nothing like it. It's huge, and lots of cool people there. And I mean, if you're a wheeler off-roader, I mean, that's probably why you're listening to this podcast, right? These are your people. They're into the same things you are, and they're for most of the same reasons, unless they're stuck at some booth where they don't care about anything but a paycheck. But I mean, a lot of these guys have a lot of passion for what they're doing and providing you, and they care about the products they make from what I noticed. So I think it was worth it. It's definitely a must do. I'd probably put it, let's see, I can put it above Moab and Rubicon because I haven't done those and I really want to do those, right?
I would say you've clearly put it above those.
Yeah, clearly put it above those.
While Ben is scrolling through some photos, I picked up 4 business cards of some products that I could talk about real quick that I wanted to highlight real quick. So the first one, a company called Universal Air, and it'll have nothing to do with, I guess I don't have to show it. Universal Air, they make like lowrider stuff. They make replacement struts that are airbags. But what's cool is they came out with this leaf spring replacement where it's 2 solid chunks of metal that are adjustable, and they've got 1 or 2 airbags built into them. And they replace the rear leafs on trucks and vans and some cars. They've only developed a little bit of it, but it looks like it's going to be revolutionary for this kind of a thing. They're not really for off-road, but for towing, I think they're going to be amazing because you could lower the air pressure and have a really smooth ride. And then when you've got a big load on, you crank the air pressure up, you're not going to sag. Super cool product. Another company called Sea Sucker. Basically, they're just these industrial suction cups, the kind that you would use to move glass around on high-rise buildings. But they've got mounts, like tons of different types of mounts for them, that you mount stuff all over your rig. You mount roof racks with them. You can mount light bars with them, antennas, all kinds of stuff, shovels. Next one was a company called OmniWall. And this, you guys have all seen those metal racks that you buy at Walmart or Costco, and it's they slot together and you pound them together, and they've got the wire mesh that goes across. These guys make something like that, but it's heavier duty and they bolt together rather than just kind of pound together. But they've got it's like pegboard, but it's like pegboard on steroids, and they've got different types of mounts that go in it, and it's a really cool wall solution. You can just buy the panel kits to go on a wall. You don't have to buy just the rack. I thought that was really cool. And then another one called Baxter Performance. These guys sell this oil filter cartridge replacement that on some of these newer rigs like the JKs and stuff, they've got a oil filter cartridge, and the cap on those gets old and brittle and breaks. So what they do is they sell this replacement piece that goes in there, and then you can thread on a regular oil filter onto it, or you can use a remote mount kit with them. So that was pretty neat. And then in the same vein, there was another company that sold this thing that looked like an oil filter wrench, but you basically just put it on your oil filter and you smack it with a hammer, and then you pull it back and it drains the oil out of your oil filter. So when you unscrew your oil filter from under your rig and it spills all the oil everywhere, by you punching this hole and then you pulling the thing back and it drains it out, you don't have that issue at all. So a really cool thing. We should talk about this, Ben. Why don't you tell them about this real quick before we go?
So we were walking around and we found the only Ricky Bobby. And he was out there doing photo ops with everybody. You know, if you ain't first, you're last. I mean, he was hilarious. He was Ricky Bobby, and we got photos with him. I only put up Aaron's photo because I thought it was a good photo. Because you can just see Aaron's face, how hyped he was. Because Aaron was just like going on it. Pretty funny.
I had to do a double take when I saw him. I'm like, Will Ferrell's here, dressed up. They paid Will Ferrell to stand in this booth. I'm like,
my mother-in-law was
no.
to meet Will Ferrell, and I'm like, no, it was an impersonator.
Yeah, he did a really good job. He had the voice, he had the mannerisms. Like, yeah, he was on point.
Yeah. Let's see. I've got a picture here for the Orba ladies, the off-road industry panel. That was pretty cool. You can see me. This is a picture I believe you took, Aaron, right? From the back of the room.
Yeah.
And you can see me over there operating a sound monitoring thing. There's video. I believe we're working on getting that all edited up. And then, you know, Aaron, you should talk about this picture right here, because this picture is important.
Yeah, so this is Ranch Pratt. He is the president of I don't know if president's the right title, but he's the guy who runs the Blue Ribbon Coalition. And it's kind of a fun story. Coy did a bunch of work off site for us. So Coy didn't come, as you all know, but he every day was checking in with us. He's given us ideas of people to go see, looking at booth numbers, doing a bunch of groundwork for us, which really did help out because the SEMA app was hot garbage. But Coy's like, you guys need to meet up with Blue Ribbon Coalition. We need to talk to them specifically about Moab, what's going on in Moab. And he's like, you need to talk to some guy named Ben. You got to find Ben. And just like our Ben is hard to find. Loose cannon. He was everywhere. And then Coy's like, turns out he's gone. He made this appearance. He's already gone from SEMA. That was on like day 2.
Yeah.
So that'd be Wednesday. He's gone. And so Coy's like, okay, I'll find out who you got to go talk to. He's like, okay, there's somebody named Ranch Pratt that you need to talk to. And he's in the Red Cap booth. And Red Cap is a clothing brand. Like they make clothes like the shirts that we're wearing. Like the Dickies shirts. They make industrial workwear. And I'm like, he's like, and it's in this hall. And I was like, Coy, that's like a half a mile from where we're at right now. I said, we're not going to get to that booth before SEMA ends. And then that was the same day that we went to the Torah Gala. And this guy walks up and he just starts talking to the people at our table because he knew them. And I'm like squinting reading his badge, because anytime I saw someone's badge, I would try to read it to see who they were, where they were from, who they represented, all that kind of stuff. And it said Ranch Pratt. And I'm like, it sounds familiar. I dig my phone out. I look at the messages from Coy, and it's the same guy. I said to the guy, I'm like, I'm supposed to meet you. He said, you are? I said, yeah. My co-host was trying to get me in contact with Ben, and I guess he's gone, and so you were the next person in line to talk to. And he's like, "Oh, I've got a message on my phone." And he pulls his phone out, and it's a screenshot of Coy texting or messaging with the Ben dude, and Ben telling him that he needs to meet us. So it was like it was made to happen, almost like a Hallmark movie. It's pretty wild. So
Yeah.
we got to meet him, president, CEO, whatever, of Blue Ribbon Coalition. We'll be having him on the show to talk about Moab very soon.
Yeah, so that's the 27th actually of this month. We're going to get Blue Ribbon on. So if you guys have any questions,
3 weeks. Yeah, 3
have any
weeks.
questions specific for them, go ahead and write into us and let us know.
Yeah, it was really cool. I mean, just the amount of cool people we got to meet. A huge thanks to Con Media. They hooked us up with 5 or 6 interviews.
I think so.
They're in charge of helping market manage like Quadratech and a few other companies. Orba, big huge to them. They were a pleasure to work with, and honestly, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have met a good chunk of people we met, because we met Dave. He's part of the Band Sports Association, and he helped like he's, when we mentioned wanting to meet Mark Maynard, that he was there, he's like, oh, I can get him, and he like his cell phone and calls him and got him to come back because he was just there. And then 392 Media, they were the guys running video. They brought the sound equipment that we use to record it. Those dudes worked hard, didn't get to play as much. And I like the board panel thing we did wouldn't have happened without them.
Yeah, and I want to thank our sponsors also, Warren and Patriot Patch and Colby Valve and 4 Patriots and the Firearms Radio Network also for being here for us, helping us have the funds to make something like this happen. We did it as cheap as possible, and it still wasn't cheap. So, I mean, Ben mentioned eating peanut butter and jelly sandwich. We literally bought peanut butter and jelly and the cheapest white bread we could get to eat for some of our dinners.
Cheap. With inflation's bad.
Yeah, about a bag of bagels for us to eat bagels in the morning. Like it was definitely budget, on a budget. So
Your hotel didn't have a continental breakfast?
it didn't. It had coffee and hot water. That was it.
Yeah.
So next year we need a continental breakfast. That'll fix things.
They had other things, but yeah,
Ice. Yeah, it had ice.
ice, yeah, ice.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was an amazing trip. There's so much more we could probably talk about and be here all night. But it's getting a little bit late.
All right, next week, guys, we got a kind of a fun show. I always look forward to these. We're doing a hypothetical road trip for dice. So we're going to have a set of money that we come up with, and we're going to go through and pick a rig and budget out a trip and kind of just have a good time. So be sure to tune in for that.
We're going back to Cali.
We'll say
I want to thank everybody. We wouldn't be able to make it to SEMA without our listeners also. So big shout out to everyone who listens to the podcast. We appreciate you guys. We wouldn't have sponsors if it wasn't for our listeners. We wouldn't have a podcast if it wasn't for our listeners. It would just be the 3 of us jacking our jaw around a campfire. So, and we would have never made it to SEMA.
Just be a Zoom call. That's all.
Just a Zoom call. Yeah, exactly. So we appreciate you guys listening weekly, tuning in live. That's one of our biggest selling points for talking to people and having them come on the show, is telling them that we've got people who are live and they comment, they harass us, we harass them back. They ask you guys questions that maybe we didn't think about. it's a whole lot of fun having you guys in the live show. We really appreciate you guys. And because we appreciate you guys so much, we want to make sure that you're sharing us with your friends and your family, because we're putting that on your shoulders, not on ours. That's your responsibility as our fans to do your job as super fans to share us. So thank you guys for reals. We really do appreciate you guys. We can count on you guys for all the stuff you do and helping us grow. And God bless America.
Don't forget to visit Patriot Patch and join the Patch of the Month Club. Check out our Gaia affiliate link for up to 40% off. Also, don't forget to head over to Warren Colby Valve and 4 Patriots to see all of their great products. We are a proud part of the Firearms Radio Network. Got a question or comment? Send it to us through our Linktree account or by searching for Off-Road Podcast. Also, you can listen to us live at overlandradio.com Mondays at 7 p.m. Pacific. When off-road, please remember to have fun, tread lightly, and be safe and courteous. Thanks for listening.
See you guys next week.
I realized we left out the fake dirt and mud and the tracks on the bottom of the Toyota.